Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 407. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate!
What's up, everybody? What's up, dude? It's been it's been a little bit. Happy New Year, everybody.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Nice little break.
Nice little break. Much needed break. You and I were talking about, I think this is the longest we've gone in between two episodes. So
yeah,
that's just time.
I don't think we've really missed anything. Hopefully, everybody's missed us.
Hopefully everyone's missed us. I mean, honestly, pretty much everything that's happened has been some of the most predictable things you could have imagined anyway. So you're not really going to be getting any groundbreaking things from us during that time anyway. So much needed break. I thought I'd be able to shake this sinus nonsense in 2023 to kind of close out the year, but here we are. I got a second one back to back.
Love that.
I was healthy for like 2 days and now we're back. So bear with me on that front, but good to be back.
That's tough.
All things considered.
That's tough. I've actually remained somewhat healthy, and this is normally the reversal. I'm normally the one that catches stuff. I will say, just an update on Nate's life. The office was like in this basketball league, like a men's basketball league. So when I first started up in October, it was like the end of that league, and then they were going to run it back and start up yesterday. So I was like, I'm in. Haven't played basketball in years, but I'm down.
Can I predict where this story goes?
Sure.
There was a G League scout in attendance for game one, and
nailed it. I'm out of here.
They want to take you away from the pod.
I'm gone.
Your career's taken off.
Yeah, signing bonus and all. No, dude. So I signed up for it last week, and so Paige and I went to the park right down the street and just shot some hoops. First off, the stroke is still there. It still looks good. However, the body let me down bad, dude. For 3 days, my calves have been so tight. And I've because I had 3 days to get somewhat cardio ready / get the basketball rust off. And so I was kind of getting after it a little bit. But I was like, Paige, I got to play you one-on-one. Beat me up however you want to. But I need to move my body around to somewhat emulate what's going to happen or simulate what's going to happen. Did all that. My body's all sore. I've been stretching. And then Tuesday I show up to work and they're like, yeah, the league got canceled. The facility.
Oh, no.
Facility in the league owner.
So you just went out and got beat up for nothing.
I was like, oh, dude, I was talking to her and I was like, I was a college athlete. How does this go downhill so fast? How do you become out of shape and unathletic so quickly?
I think once you hit 30,
it's wild.
I think maturing is getting to a point in your life when your significant other, or you just come to the realization yourself that stretching is necessary.
It kind of is, dude.
This never was a part of my life, and now the only way I can get up without pain is to do this the night before. It's a sad reality. It's insane.
Reality. So that's it. That's all I got for you. I was trying to get more active for 2024 and I got punished for it. So there we go.
Speaking of 2024, and we'll obviously get into some ball talk, but part of our anniversary trip, because we got married New Year's Eve, we went away to a cabin for a little bit, and some of the time Meredith and I were talking about the goals for the podcast in 2024, just kind of spitballing. And obviously won't go into detail on all of them, but one of those is getting the YouTube. I set the goal for 2K.
I think that's very doable.
So I would humbly request, if you're listening to this, we ask from time to time, but if you're listening to this,
Go
again,
watch instead.
You can watch if you want, but even if you don't, even if you're like, nah, I'm audio, I'm purely audio, I'm strictly audio, go over, subscribe to the pod, and come back to your audio. But we need those subscriptions. I'm trying to get to 2K by the end of the year. I think that's very, very reasonable.
I think it is too.
Very
attainable. I think it is too.
Last thing, on that note, be thinking of any, this time of year is around the time where you and I will throw out a trip idea, and then it just it just kind of manifests. So
it does.
I was thinking about that the other day. So I mean, I would be lying if I said I haven't been peeking around at some home run derby tickets.
Where's that at this year?
Texas.
I like that idea. I could get down on some Texas.
I'm really coming around on it. And I thought maybe this is the year where we invite the significant others.
That'd be fun too.
Maybe make it a group outing.
I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
All I have to say, just be thinking. If you're listening and some events this year that I'm not thinking of, throw them out there for us, and maybe we'll be at a ballpark near you. We'll see.
You just got me fired up. I'm feeling it.
Let's do it. All right, let's get into some free agent / trade talk here. Like you said, lot's been going on, but for the most part, I think the real heavy hitting headlines were before the new year, like kind of mid-December. Since then, we haven't really gotten much. I mean, a few bigger moves, but a lot of it's just been minor transactions here and there. But some of which we hadn't gotten around to because of our break and everything. So we're going to be playing a little catch up here. But wanted to start off with what I believe, last I checked, is the most recent noteworthy headline, the Shota Imanaga deal. I saw, and I would venture to say you saw it too, that he took the Cubs offer when there was an offer on the table for close to, if not exactly double what he got for the Cubs.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Did I read that correctly?
We still don't know the details on what team that is, right? I didn't see anything.
We don't know the details of who that offer was from, but it just came out yesterday that the details on the deal he did take, $53 million over 4 years for the Cubs. Yeah. So the narrative there is that apparently he just really wanted to be a Cub, which is very reminiscent of Shohei's decision to go play for the Angels, where it's like you have all of these other organizations that were vying for his services, but he goes to the Angels of all places. So I don't know if there's like a loyalty element that comes into play there, where you get into conversation with the team and like that's where you decide to go. But clearly, if he's turning down a deal worth twice as much to play for the Cubs, sounds like he wants to go play in Wrigley.
Give me a guess on what other team you think it was.
Well, I know it wasn't the Red Sox.
Be willing to be double on that deal, but clearly doesn't have the same
pull?
Attraction level, I guess.
The gravitational pull.
I'm gonna say Giants.
I was literally saying the same thing.
I'm gonna say Giants. That's my guess.
I mean, if any team out there has a documented history of going for a guy and coming up short, it's the Giants.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think. I mean, other teams presumably were in on him. Like, I'm sure the Dodgers, as crazy of an offseason as they've had,
go away.
I'm sure they were having conversations. I feel like we need to revisit the Dodgers stuff, man.
We might have to.
I've seen. There's been so much on the Dodgers lately that I'm frankly just blown away at the narrative that's being built on this team. Like, we're not going to dive into it, but only thing I'll say is don't be upset with a team that's willing to invest in players to make the organization better. How many times do we have to say it? Stop being upset with the Dodgers. Be upset with your team who refuses to do what the Dodgers are doing because they're capable of doing it. That's all I'll say. But yeah, how do we feel about this Imanaga deal?
I don't know a ton about him. I looked into some numbers a little bit, some stuff that like stood out to me. Career 3.18 ERA. Through 148 innings last year, which is pretty solid. 174 strikeouts. The biggest thing for me though is the 4% walk rate. That's got to be extremely attractive. I think I don't know what the Cubs did. I don't know what they put in his water during the meeting, but for them to convince him to take half on what seems to be a pretty team-friendly deal for the most part. I did see that he's got an option that could potentially push this to 80 million. So that's interesting. But even then, I think like because we heard rumors of it getting north of 100, especially when like the Yamamoto deal just kept climbing and climbing. It seemed like it was helping the Imanaga situation. So I like it. I think I don't know much about his game. I didn't really get to watch like any videos of him pitching yet. From what it seems like, he lives in the zone. He's kind of seems like a pitch to contact guy. Him and Kyle Hendricks, you know what I mean? Like sitting in the same kind of approach seems like. So curious just see like how the numbers go. Maybe a little bit of inflation being in Wrigley. You know how it is in Wrigley, like the early beginning of the year, you get some wind, some bad weather, helps pitchers out. But then once summer hits, it's like that's a beautiful ballpark to hit in. So yeah, I'm just curious to see, but I think it makes sense. Like the Central's up for grabs. So anything like this could be pretty solid. Maybe I was thinking maybe he's boys with maybe say a Suzuki. I don't know if there's a little something there. Could be, but because we can't help but have that part of the conversation. You know, sure. I know Yamamoto said, "Hey, whether Ohtani was a Dodger or not, I wanted to be there." But there's got to be some comfort knowing that you have like the familiarity with your teammate in a brand new country, in a brand new city, on a brand new roster. So I don't know if Shota and Say are boys, but
I am seeing a picture right now. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
They're clearly on two different teams over in Japan, but they're hugging, they're embracing, laughing. So I would venture to say there's some element of friendliness there. Some sort of backstory there. So, you know, maybe that played a role in it. Looking at this rotation for the Cubs as it stands right now, you've got Justin Steele, Jameson Taillon, Shota Imanaga, Kyle Hendricks, and Jordan Wicks. So
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I think that can get you, and we talk about this every year. You need, if you plan to contend, which I would venture to say the Cubs are planning to contend, if that is your course of action that you're planning to take, do what you got to do to get yourself to the deadline and then fill in the gaps. I would venture to say that this rotation, as it stands right now, gets you to the deadline and you're still above water.
100% agree. I think it does depend on like whether Justin Steele's year last year was a fluke or not. But I agree. Like you get in your position to win games and, you know, put yourself in a position to potentially be a buyer at the deadline. And again, that division's up for grabs. So I don't see why not. Maybe a bat or two added. And I'd be interested to see what the Cubs do. Why not? I did see also one last note, the money going back to the Bay Stars. Did you see that? That it could grow if that option gets picked up. It was something of like, if that option does get picked up and he grows to 80 mil, there's something of nearing like 15% of his earnings would go back to the Bay Stars.
The deal, according to ESPN, the deal has several provisions, including the team's option to extend the contract after both years 2 and 3 to $80 million over 5 years. But if the Cubs decline in either year, Imanaga can choose to become a free agent or remain in the original contract. The Cubs will pay just under $10 million to the Bay Stars in the form of a release fee.
I thought I saw something that it would go like up from there. There was like another provisional thing, like if the option got picked up, it would grow. I don't know why, but I thought I saw that somewhere. I don't know.
To 80 mil? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like if that option goes to 80 mil, then the Bay Stars then get like another little bonus situation, maybe.
I don't know if I recall seeing that, if I'm being honest.
Here it is. Where'd it go? Okay. That'll initially be that posting release fee or whatever was $9.8 million and would increase if the team exercises the option or Imanaga unlocks more money via escalators, whatever that means. So I guess bonuses, like performance bonuses.
Yep.
The Cubs would owe the Bay Stars an additional 15% of whatever money the Southpaw earns from beyond the initial guarantee. So if the guarantee grows, the Bay Stars end up getting a little bit more money.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
And so there's just like a correlation there. And
yeah. And I was kind of thinking about this. I know I've been out a little bit, but like between the Ohtani, well, not Ohtani, but the Yamamoto and the Imanaga situation, and well, yeah, I guess Ohtani. We're seeing very creative clauses that I don't think we're very familiar with.
Yeah, I don't.
It's new.
I don't know how I feel about it because we're getting to the point now. Was it Yamamoto's contract where it said that he couldn't be optioned to the minors without his consent or something?
I didn't see that one. I didn't see that.
These clauses are getting insane. I'm like, in what world is that? Like, if you're front office, in what world is that acceptable? Like,
I saw the Ohtani thing where I think I'm not sure. Don't quote me here, but I thought I saw like if Dave Roberts or like GM or baseball operations, one of the three guys gets moved, he gets the option to leave. This contract,
something like that. Yeah,
I think this is what the new thing is going to end up being, because like eventually, I know like we're going to say like where are we going to cut when are we going to stop? At what point is too much money? Too much money. I think the contracts are going to start to get a little more creative. And this is the point that I was thinking about. It's been a while since we talked, so I was excited to tell you this. I had this like little light bulb moment. During the break, I was watching, do you ever see Air? The story about like Michael Jordan's deal with Nike?
Dude, Meredith's younger sister, shout out Jess. She worked on set for that.
Really?
Matt Damon and all them.
Yeah. Solid movie.
Fabulous movie.
Very underrated. 100% recommended if you haven't seen it. But the point I'm making is like when at the end of the movie, well, I'm not spoiling anything. This is all history that everyone knows. But Michael Jordan's mom is like negotiating the contract and saying, we're going to need a royalty deal in this shoe deal. If you're going to make my son's shoe, I need a piece of that. Like the family needs to make sure that we're getting that money coming in. And that's what was like the groundbreaking thing, right? They said, this has never been done in the industry before. We've given guys shoes before, but never a royalty deal on like ongoing sales. It made me think of like, the money may grow, but these types of clauses are going to start being more and more popular. And if Ohtani's committing and bringing everything he brings to an organization, and he says, I'm signing due to these people in this room giving me their idea of what the vision is going to look like during the length of this contract, then I want to make sure that we can stay committed to this as an organization. So I think these clauses, it's a little wild. I don't know about the being sent down thing. I don't think I'm on board with that. But I think you're going to start to see players becoming almost like I don't have ownership in this organization, but I'm going to make sure shots are called. And there's probably only a couple superstars that can pull this off. But I need my manager, I need my GM, I need my VP of operations, whatever it may be, to stay in place because I'm buying in on your guys' vision. So I think this is going to start to be more of a popular thing amongst contracts.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that, money makes your life more comfortable, and these guys that are reeling in these insane contracts know that. But I think you bring up a good point. Is these clauses are going to be additional ways or supplementary ways to make life comfortable for these guys. Where if for Yamamoto, knowing that he's not going to get sent down unless he decides to, or whoever, whatever other clauses come down the pipe, it's like it's just going to be something for Ohtani, for example. It's going to be something where he looks at that and, like you said, I want these people around me. I want my life to be comfortable in that regard. I have my money.
Yeah,
I'm good there. But how else can I make this situation as best go as well for me as I can?
Because let's be honest, it's going to be, I think, decades before we see an Ohtani level superstar again.
Sure.
So he's now set that bar where I think a lot of these organizations are going to look at that overall price tag of $700 million, and they're going to compare whatever future free agent or superstar to that number and say, are you that good? If not, let's drop it down to 400, 450, 500, and start to maneuver into these new types of clauses. So the whole reason I brought up the Michael Jordan era thing is because I think this is the new way contracts are going to start to look. Is maybe we don't creep over 700, 800 billion dollar contracts, but we will see more organizational control in these players' contracts. Does that make sense? Am I crazy?
Yeah, and the benefit of these clauses, as crazy as I think some of them will end up being down the road as we traverse into this new territory, is that they're gonna like I was saying, they're gonna provide some freedom. And while they may not provide initial monetary return, it gives it, they could lend themselves to, additional streams of revenue or income. Like if a guy, off the top of my head, if a guy's like, I want X amount of days throughout the season to visit with and explore brand deals, to meet with executives of companies that I'm supporters of, then up front you're going, well, you're not getting any money directly through that clause, but it lends itself to opening up and exploring different options and resources for your career after the fact. So
for sure,
I don't know. There's a lot at play there. I'm sure similar to the way the NIL stuff with college unfolded, it's going to get real messy real quick. And I think the league is just going to have to keep a close eye on how this unfolds, because I mean, just the few that we've talked about already, these clauses, so getting a little all right, let's not forget that the player, or that the teams here are the ones that the players are playing for, and it's not the other way
because
around.
if you get too far into this, now you're getting into the NBA, and clearly the players are running the NBA. So I don't think we can get into that.
Let's switch gears here. I mentioned having to play a little catch up. We haven't had a chance yet to cover the Red Sox moves, but kind of lumping them here together. The Chris Sale and Lucas Giolito moves. Let me just say right off the top, I've had a number of people reach out. They say, where are you at on this whole Chris Sale thing? I've had plenty of time to think about it at this point. I still feel the same exact way as I did when I saw the update come through. I'm so glad this is over. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that this experiment
I
is
had a
over.
feeling. I had a feeling you'd be on this board.
It just wasn't working. And I I saw a lot of Braves, to credit to Braves fans, I did see somewhat of a split in terms of reaction. A lot of people were saying, yo, AA's at it again, fleece the Sox. And then a lot of other people were going, why are we giving up Vaughn Grissom for this guy?
Mm-hmm.
To the Braves fans, or just baseball fans in general, that think the Braves somehow fleece the Red Sox here, the only way this ends up being any sort of a fleece is if Vaughn Grissom, similar to Chris Sale, just can't play if he's hurt all the time.
Yeah.
And Chris Sale gives you even a fraction of what he gave you in 2018. Because you're not getting the odds of you getting a Chris Sale that gives you north of 20 starts, slim to none.
Yeah. 100% agree. I think I think if we're going to say like who won, I think it comes down to whatever happens this year. But I think the Red Sox got the best case scenario out of this. Yeah. You could speak to this. There was a desperate hole at shortstop. I think the organization was very much against sliding Trevor Story over there for the foreseeable future. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox.
The plan is to have Story play short.
Grissom at second.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is a decent safety net because Vaughn Grissom is clearly capable of playing both. Worst case scenario, Trevor Story, injuries come back or arm strength issues come back, and then you swap them. So I like it. The one curious, I was looking into like the details of everything, and I don't remember what article I was reading, but it was saying it was interesting that Sale didn't force the Braves to pick up the 2025 option pre-trade. And I think that's where all of this, the Braves fleeced the Red Sox. It wasn't necessarily like that in my mind. I think it was a smart move on both sides. Like, instead of like kind of handcuffing your new team, Chris Sale accepted a 2-year deal, which is now $38 million a year. So it was like Anthopoulos is genius. I'm not arguing that. And I'm not saying this is a bad move at all. I just think it was pretty smart. And then on top of that, obviously, like, I think the deferment money went away because he had $10 million that was deferred. So this new contract voided that. But the Red Sox sent that money anyway.
You say 38 mil a year? I thought his salary
38
was
total. 2-year 38.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 27 and a half and 20 or this year.
2-year 38. But I saw that the Red Sox sent 17.
Yep.
They sent another 10 for the deferment money. But this new contract voided that 10 million. But I think the Braves got to keep that 10 million. From my understanding.
I don't know what happened with that 10 mil. Yeah.
I thought I saw it got voided, but either way, like, the Braves are coming out with only like what that option did by not making the Braves pick up that option is that they were going to be hit with taxes in 2025 because of that $20 million option. So him avoiding that, them receiving the money, Anthopoulos changing it to a 2-year deal, avoided all those things. I think it was smart. I think it was a win-win. You got everything you needed out of Chris Sale. You got a ring out of it. So it's like,
and that's what I say. I
think that's all that matters.
Thanks for the ring. I'm not writing off your whole career as a member of the Red Sox, but like, we have to have some awareness here. And
thank you for your service, dude, kind of thing.
Credit to him. His self-awareness is off the charts. He recognizes that he completely sabotaged the team with that contract because of his performance, not by accepting it, but just what he was able, or what little he was able to offer after he signed the contract. But I think he just didn't want to start off on the wrong foot with the Braves. He was like, look, I'm not gonna, I know what my career's looked like the last handful of years. I'm in no position to be demanding this or that or any sort of clause like we were just talking about. So I think he just wanted to cut ties, and he all but said that he owed the Red Sox that. Like he did say his best years were in Boston. He also said his worst years were in Boston. So
Yeah.
Insane that I don't think the Braves fleeced the Red Sox. I also am not saying that the Red Sox fleeced the Braves, because I have my opinion about Chris Sale and what I think 2024 and beyond will look like. But you have to play the what if game here. You have to go, what if he gives you 20, 25 starts and he gives you quality outings?
Yeah.
And then what if Vaughn Grissom goes out and like gives you adequate play at second base?
Yeah.
Then to me, it's a win-win. I just think
I like it.
With Vaughn Grissom being blocked in that organization, Chris Sale going nowhere here, I think a new look for each guy will serve them both well.
100% agree. And he slots in. He went from having to be an ace when he doesn't have ace stuff anymore to now a 3-4 rotation guy that's absolutely loaded. And I've got no issue on either side. I think this is a win-win.
If you're the Braves, save him for give him a start every 6th day and save him for the postseason. I mean, there's no pressure that you need to put on this guy, because you're okay with your rotation. You don't need him to be the guy.
Agreed.
Lucas Giolito, 2-year, $38.5 million contract. There is an option after the first year. Simply put, the best case for the Red Sox here is that you get a somewhat of a haul at the deadline, because this is really just Giolito looking for a place that will take him so that he can bounce back.
Yeah.
And if and when he does, he's gone. So if the Red Sox are smart, which based on the way this offseason's gone, I can't say I can't bank on them doing this, but the smart move would be to trade him at the deadline, get something if he's throwing well. If not, he's obviously going to opt back in and be back for 2025, and hopefully he'll get to figure it out then. But as it stands right now, I don't think the Red Sox are in any condition to compete in 2024. So I'm not really sure. He again, he goes out and throws well this year. He's gone at the deadline, or they do nothing and he walks after the season. Or he's garbage and makes 2024 all that worse, and then you're stuck with him for 2025.
Yeah.
Having put together multiple consecutive poor campaigns together.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with it. Like, we at least have a name in the rotation now. We're not relying on guys like James Paxton necessarily to be the dude. Hopefully Lucas Giolito can tap into a little bit of what he showed us years ago, but I'm not necessarily banking on it.
I think if you talk about Red Sox needs, you just need consistency, and put the numbers aside. Obviously, it's been down the last 2 years, but 30 starts in 2022, 2023 had 33 starts, 161 innings, and then 184 innings last year. So they need innings.
Was it 3 straight seasons with 30 plus starts?
I think so.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's
innings.
That's a need. Yeah. 100%. I looked at the depth chart. I'm assuming he slots in as 1. Giolito, Bayo, Pivetta, Houck, Whitlock, Cutter, Crawford. That's what I wrote down as far as names. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, that I don't think aside from the fact that it's just like an honorary thing. I mean, to me, it's a flip of the coin. Bayo, Giolito. I'd be fine either way. I'm not going to be upset opening day if I see one versus the other. Either way is fine with me.
Yeah, but I think that's I don't hate it. I think what you said, like, you're getting innings, somewhat affordable. Best case scenario, you flip him. Worst case scenario, he's a dud, and you took a shot. I if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd say I'm at least happy we're taking a shot on somebody. Because clearly this market is outside of the big names. There was like big names and then a lot of risky names. And he's one of the risky names.
Yes and no on taking a shot. I just feel like with the contracts they've given out recently, like Turner, Giolito, these like 1-2 kind of piece it together. Give me something to latch on to for beyond just 162 games. Like I understand that we're waiting on a core and all that, but like in the meantime, open up the checkbook. Like there were guys to be picked up, and
I think that's the issue though.
Pennies over here.
It doesn't really seem like a win now situation. Maybe the contract offers were out there, but I bet a lot of these big names are just like, I don't know if you're ready to compete quite yet. I think this is a 3rd or 4th place in the division in my mind. Yeah. Barring like any like surprise
for the Red Sox. I'm thinking 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet some of these bigger names saw that, saw the writing on the wall. It's just, they put themselves in this position for what you were saying, for some of these contracts they've handed out the last few years. This is what they're getting in return.
A guy that they were rumored to be in on, but obviously missed out, Teoscar Hernandez, another name we have yet to get to, but just want to go over that briefly. Signed a 1-year, $23.5 million contract with the Dodgers, as we very well know at this point. Did I hear correctly that he turned down a multi-year deal from the Dodgers? I thought it was elsewhere. I thought it was elsewhere, which I'm sure was the case. Like, I'm sure other teams were offering multi-year deals. But I think that I heard or read or saw that the Dodgers should put out a multi-year deal, but I think he was treating this as like a bet on myself kind of year so that he could revisit the market at the end of the year.
Maybe it was only a 2-year deal. He's 31. So
I think it was 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it was like 5 or 6. I think it was 2, but
yeah, I don't hate it, I guess. Hey, 31, if you do a 2-year deal, you're not hitting the market again until 33, 34. And then at that point, who's going to give you any more than that? So I think if you maximize your potential this year, hitting a absolutely stupid stacked lineup, be the beneficiary of, some productive numbers, I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, 23.5 for the year, that's no number to shake off.
No.
He did play 160 games last year. I was surprised to see that.
I did. Yeah, I saw that. I think we can both agree that's a little bit of an overpay, right? But I think at this point, the Dodgers are just, they're just playing with stupid money now. So
yeah, like why not? I mean, 26 jacks, 93 RBIs last year. Slugging wasn't great, a 741 OPS. So
8.5 of that is deferred, by the way, which,
well, there you go.
Is just insane. Why?
It's crazy how this deferral stuff is really coming in.
How are we? And again, revisiting this thing with the Dodgers, don't be upset at the Dodgers for playing within the rules. Like that.
Yeah.
Just be upset with your team that is incapable of utilizing these loopholes that exist. Yeah. I'm not saying you should be able to defer a 1-year contract just willy-nilly, but like the rule as it stands right now allows for that, and they took advantage of it. So don't be upset with the Dodgers. They're smarter than your team. That's the reality of it.
I got fun. I wrote out the lineup.
Oof. He's going to be bottom 3rd.
Yeah, I did. So I got Mookie lead off. He's now switched to fully second base. I put Freddie 2, playing first.
I've seen Ohtani too.
Yeah, I'm down for either of those swapping. I don't think either of them care, but I do like the back-to-back thing because I think I didn't look at numbers, but I would go ahead and assume lefties don't matter against them. So I don't mind them being back-to-back. but I put Ohtani third DH, Will Smith cleaning up, catching, Max Muncy over at third, hitting fifth. I then put Teoscar sixth in right field, Outman playing center, hitting seven. I don't know if Teoscar plays left, maybe, because then you got Jason Hayward / Manny Margot hitting 8. I think those two just kind of rotate
I
time
completely
together.
forgot they picked up Margot.
Yeah, he was in the Glasnow deal.
That's right.
Yeah. And then Rojas and Chris Taylor hitting 9, playing short. And those two just kind of
Well, it would be Lux.
rotating.
Or no, when does
Lux?
When does Lux get back?
Is it anytime soon?
I saw a report the other day that said he was working out at Dodger Stadium with Bueller, I think.
Well, then you got, I would say maybe Lux, Rojas, Chris Taylor, all kind of fighting for time. Hitting 9th. That's crazy, though. That's nuts. That's a stupid lineup.
Yeah, because Lux that's right. It was in spring training, he tore his ACL because it was amidst all the World Baseball Classic nonsense.
Yeah. So maybe sometime at some point, but you don't have to rush back now. You got plenty of depth. The bench is solid. It's crazy, man. Like when you talk about like a flyer 31-year-old deal, 31-year-old Teoscar Hernandez deal, like risk reward, why not? Toss him in. But that goes right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's a stupid lineup, man. Super, super deep.
You want to talk Robbie Ray?
Yeah, let's do it.
The Giants pick up Robbie Ray as they send Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani to the M's. Finally, I thought of you immediately when I saw that deal, by the way, because I saw an outfielder leaving San Francisco.
Yeah. It's about time. Instead of them bringing one in.
So I mentioned before we hopped on, I felt like this was a little under the radar. Like I feel like this deal has a good bit of upside for the Giants.
Yeah. I think it's somewhat of a win-win. I think it's some lottery tickets being traded for lottery tickets because like Robbie Ray's not coming back till middle of the year. And I think it was an even money swap because I think the M's or Giants, one of the two, threw in money to even out. I guess for the Mariners, that was probably not a great deal anyway. What's left? Wasn't it like 3 years, 75?
73.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, it's looking back, hindsight's 2020, but like, I don't think it was probably the smartest deal.
He's got Robbie's got an opt out after 2024. So
I don't think he would do it. He'd be dumb to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a half a season worth of stuff. I don't think anyone's gonna offer you that much for the remaining or even multi-year deal after that. So I don't know though.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but with what he was able to do in Toronto, plus half a season, if he comes back healthy and is able to throw well and mimic that performance pre-injury, do you think that teams would still shy away?
I mean, I think there's probably going to be like some Bay bias playing in Oracle. You know what I mean? Big stadium. So like, I think numbers will look pretty decent there. I mean, I guess I don't know. I wouldn't really be that interested in it. I think it's a good deal for him. It's a good change of scenery. Mariners got off of that contract and like squeeze what you can out of Mitch Haniger as a little homecoming. Anthony Desclafani, like we've seen some flashes of good stuff in there, but like your rotation's good enough, so you don't really need to worry too much about that.
To put it simply, you'll pick him up in fantasy for a spot start here and there.
Probably.
So he'll shine from time to time.
And then I mean they did make some other moves. They're trying to load up on bats. They made the move for Luke Raley, got Mitch Garver, so it's like they're trying to add a little bit of bop.
Completely forgot about that. Yeah.
That little bop to that lineup. So I don't hate it. I think they're doing some smart stuff. I wouldn't expect a ton out of Mitch Haniger. Probably just a little homecoming, soak it up kind of 2024, but we'll see.
This is more of just kind of a cut your ties from that contract.
I think so.
Kind of situation, I think
so.
To say.
And then the Giants, like, there's not much else out there. So you got to do what you got to do. And then again, like you said, high potential reward. There's Cy Young stuff in there somewhere. Just if he wore a bigger jersey, maybe he could tap into it a little bit easier.
I don't know. There's something to be said for getting your injuries right with a team and then coming back. I mean,
yeah,
that's what the Sox did with Paxton. They paid him. I don't even remember what they were paying him to rehab for like a full year, and then he comes back the next year and gives you serviceable stuff. So
yeah,
and Robbie Ray can
higher
I think
upside.
The ceiling is high. Yeah, the ceiling's higher there. So, like I said, I think there's a lot of potential there for that move.
I'm just disappointed Gabe Kapler isn't there anymore because I really could have pictured them just like side by side in the clubhouse staring at themselves in the mirror. You know what I mean?
Oh,
just
yeah.
Flexing, checking the fit.
In the weight room, yeah. Like
yeah.
Swapping like workout plans and creatine formulas and all that.
I think they could have been boys, but too bad.
It's a real shame. Also a real shame that the Mets have fallen as low as they've fallen. Harrison Bader, Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, all names that they have acquired as of late. Tell me a little bit about this duo of Bader and Severino.
I don't know. It's so funny to see them pick up scraps. I don't know why it's like it's such a thing, but it is such a thing. Like you're just picking up scraps. They did it with Gary. They're doing it here with Severino, with Bader. I like Severino. I think when that deal went down, I was like, I wish him the best. I like him. I think he just said in like his little interview that he thought he was going to die a Yankee.
Which is such a wild thing to say. Like, dude, chill. You're not Judge getting traded to the Giants. Like,
relax.
Come on now.
But it was the same thing. Like it's kind of like, we banked on you for a while. We were hoping for the best and you haven't delivered in a little bit, but it's in there. I hope he has success. I could see him having success.
I like the fit. I mean, I don't hate it. You're talking about a Mets team, again, we'll revisit this, that was caught tripping up saying that we're not competing in 2024, possibly not even 2025.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, no one's going to want to go there. So you're left picking up these scraps.
You're basically a land of misfits right now, all betting on themselves. So I could very much see Harrison Bader and Severino finishing the season off somewhere else if they're having a good 2024 and they move on and get traded at the deadline. But I don't know. Doesn't fire me up that much. I like Bader. He's an energy guy. It's not like anything that moves the needle that much, but I do like him. I think he's a good teammate and he plays hard. And like if you're a kid and you wanted to emulate someone's game, I could say you could do a lot worse than trying to be like Harrison Bader. So I like him. Plus him and Pete were teammates in Florida.
Oh, Florida, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there's something there too.
There's a post going around. It was I would venture to say it was completely intentional, but there's a post going around from some Mets account that photoshopped once they picked up Bader It was like something like "Welcome to the Mets, Harrison Bader," and he photoshopped Logan Paul's face on like the Mets jersey. And like if you're just scrolling, you wouldn't think twice about it. But when you look at it, you're like,
I see
dude,
it.
that's Logan Paul. That's literally Logan Paul. He took Logan
Yeah.
Paul's headshot. It was hilarious.
Whoops.
Got to get those numbers. Am I right? The Sean Manaea acquisition. I think personally, honestly, I'm past the well, this could have some upside. Like,
Yeah,
I'm past
Manaea's,
that point.
I think he's cooked for me.
Yeah. I held on as long as I could. I really did,
Yeah.
but it hasn't panned out. So the fact that he got 28 mil over 2 years, I mean,
that was an overpay. That was you just overpaid for innings. Yeah.
Yeah.
He swindled for sure.
And again, it all makes sense. It comes back full circle. You have to overpay for innings.
Yeah.
When nobody wants to go there, and you need serviceable arms that can give you those innings. Otherwise, you're going to be throwing position players 7, 8, 9 every night. So because you don't have anybody. So
I feel bad for Senga. I feel like he probably like looking at the picture of having like, hey, I'm coming in as a 3 behind Verlander and Scherzer and all this buzz. And then next thing you know, 365 days later, he's having to front a rotation that's just duct tape and chicken wire.
He's the Japanese Jacob deGrom now, not in terms of performance necessarily, but just in terms of looking behind him going, all right,
whoops,
hop on my back. I guess I'll freaking lug you clowns around for 162. Just, it's crazy. Poor guy.
I don't feel bad for the Mets. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about the Mets. Dylan Cease, a couple guys. Well, let's talk Dylan Cease, Marcus Stroman. A couple names that have been floated around. Obviously, the Stroman being the free agent. I've been seeing that the Yankees are the favorites. You and I chatted about this the other day. It sounds like he's ending up with one of our ball clubs. Whether it's the Yankees or Red Sox. So this is
if he
almost
signs
like
with the Red Sox, will you think you can get unblocked somehow on Twitter?
I don't want to be unblocked. The guy's a clown. Like I don't need that in my life. I don't need that, and I'll be more than fine without it.
That's kind of how I feel. I just want winners, dude. Like I don't care about names. I'm at that point where I don't care about names. I just want selfless winners. Keyword selfless. It just he's never come off selfless before. But at the same time, I'm like, I wouldn't hate the Yankees coming into like this more of an evil, hated narrative, and maybe he adds to it. But then again, like you tried that with Donaldson and it failed. So I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just want winners, and he doesn't seem like one to me.
Of the two of us, who would hate our lives more? Because this is almost like a twisted bet that we have no control over.
I know.
I know. One of us is going to be the loser here, and I'm just wondering who would hate our lives more.
I don't know.
I think based on what you just said, I'm not saying you'd come around to liking him, but I think you would tolerate him. I do not think I could tolerate.
I think I could tolerate
Marcus Stroman.
I think I could.
It makes sense, though. I'm not like criticizing you, but what you're saying about like the evil empire and trying to recapture even just a little bit of that, I get it. And so it's like if adding Stroman is a part of that to make that happen, I get it. But in a year where we're not going to compete anyway, and you're going to make me sit down and watch Stroman throw every fifth day, no, I'm good.
Maybe I'm just grasping at that nostalgia. Obviously, the Dodgers are the new evil empire. So, like, when we're talking about trying to recapture that narrative by signing Marcus Stroman, we're far off from what we used to be. So, I don't know. I'd like to see him elsewhere. Let's just say that. Please go somewhere else. I'm all good.
I mean, I've been saying it for like the last year plus. Like the only thing I can really say to you is like, what have you done since 09? Like you have fallen so far off the map. But
It's
beyond that,
crazy.
I can't say anything, dude. Like at least heading into 2024, you guys are in a position to compete for a division and beyond. But
That's it. Like that's the bringing in Soto is like the only, and it's not just Soto. It's the fact that he's here and like we gotta try and convince him to stay. You gotta somewhat push chips in the middle of the table. So like dude, you just go try to make a trade somewhere. Like just go try to make a trade. We don't need to sign Stroman. Loser.
speaking of trade, Dylan Cease, another name I mentioned. It sounds like the White Sox are maybe pulling that back a little bit. It sounds like the asking price might be a little bit too much. The one team that I think just has to make this happen, and I would think you might be on board with this, the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
Like if asking price is the issue,
They're the one that
like,
can answer it.
Like as the Orioles, if you're okay with this guy's body of work, if you're okay with the contract situation, and all it comes down to is asking price and prospects,
Make it
you
work.
fit that bill. That's you. Like this is your guy to lose. If you're the Orioles, go out and get Dylan Cease. We've been saying this for the last
year and a half.
Yeah.
Like
it's disappointing to see that they haven't made that move, whatever that move was. I mean, there for a while, I was really hoping they'd pull Trey in. Obviously he goes to Philly, and it seems as though their infield is going to shake out just fine anyway. So, pitching would be the next big thing. Starting pitching, a frontline arm, and this is a guy that could be that for you. I know he had a rocky year, but if you can recapture what he's capable of, what he's shown you as a frontline guy, that's a perfect fit in Baltimore. So, not sure why we haven't made that happen yet.
I don't know either. I was looking into like numbers and stuff just to see like similarity, and I'm curious to see if the White Sox are crossing into that same territory they did with Giolito. Like your asking price was so high, then he came out and he didn't deliver the performance that would justify that asking price. And then like a year or two floats by, and then he's 30, and then you move on from him with nothing to show for it. Kind of feels like what like the White Sox MO lately. So I'd hate to see that. I'd like to see him go succeed somewhere.
Yeah. And on that, you don't know what maybe the Orioles are calling their bluff. Like they're going, you're asking for a heck of a lot, but are you really sure he's worth that? Because sure, he could turn things around, but it's also equally possible that he doesn't. So you want to maybe revisit the asking price? If so, we can talk. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but
true.
If in a perfect world, I think the O's make a great deal of sense for Dylan
White
Cease.
Sox. Figure it out, dude. Stop asking so much.
Last thing I wanted to get to, Chaim Bloom.
I'll let you run with this one.
See you later, guy. I mean, we said our farewell a while ago at this point, but gets picked up by the Cardinals to serve as the advisor. So not quite the same role he had in Boston, but I think for good reason, teams are maybe a little hesitant to slot him into any sort of role. The quote is what got me.
Where'd he go?
The Cardinals.
Weird. Okay.
The quote is what got me. Bill DeWitt Jr. I believe. No. It was John Mozeliak. He said, "I have known Chaim for a long time and feel that this is a great opportunity for the St. Louis Cardinals. It would be good to get an outside perspective of our organization from someone who is as well respected as Heim.
Ew.
There are
Gross
agents.
quote.
There are agents who have talked about it for Heim's tenure. They talked about how Heim was running the Red Sox like a small market team. So unless you're talking about like other baseball executives, I don't know if you could say that he's widely respected in the baseball world.
Yeah.
Because you kind of saw how he ran his former franchise. So I'm not saying he's not an intelligent baseball person. He's obviously brilliant, but to say, I don't know.
I'm imagining that this is how it went. He called his agent and he was like, please just find me a front office job somewhere in the league. Somewhere. The best case scenario is you go somewhere as an assistant, as an advisor that has success. You go ride coattails and find a new job after that. It's just, I don't know if the Cardinals are the right spot for him in that scenario. Maybe they were the only ones calling. I have no idea. But whatever.
There's a bunch of geriatrics out there in the rotation.
It'd be all good. Yeah, like stay away.
Have fun.
I don't want you here.
About does it. I know we got to get out of here. I did have one other thing. I wanted to revisit our, we kind of got away from it for a while, but our unbreakable records, little mini segment series for the off season. I know we only have a few minutes, so I'll keep it quick, but the Bobby Cox ejection record. I think I sent you the number a while back, but in case I didn't, are you familiar with just how many times he was ejected?
I genuinely don't even have a guess. I don't even know it's high. 150?
How many games do Major League Baseball teams play in a full season?
162.
That's how many times he was ejected.
Really? So he's
ejected a full season worth. He managed for 29 seasons, but when you take into account the ejections, he essentially managed 28 seasons of baseball.
First off, that'll never happen again.
Never.
We're never going to see a manager stick around for nearly 30 years.
No.
Ain't going to happen. So that should tell you all you need. And replay review. So,
in looking into this record, I mean, dare I say this is the safest unbreakable record of all time?
What's the next even closest to active managers right now?
Cut it in half. No, I'm dead serious. Cut it in half.
Really?
81. Bruce Bochy.
And he's been around forever.
Since time was invented. And he is on his way out, presumably in the very near future.
Yeah.
And he's 9th all time with 81. Top 5, you got Bobby Cox, John McGraw. John McGraw is 121. What's his name? I can never pronounce it. Leo Durocher.
Sure.
Durocher has 100. Earl Weaver 96, and Tony La Russa with 93. Yeah. I don't see this record being even remotely approached. Forget being touched or surpassed. Like the only active guy is Bruce Bochy, and he's 9th with half.
Yeah.
With half. And it goes back to the whole like instant replay and robo umps and all that stuff. This is what you miss out on.
I know.
This is what you miss.
You've eliminated an entirely entertaining section of the game.
Like just a facet of the game that I don't care what calls were missed, what calls were wrong. Call me crazy. I genuinely miss seeing
I do too.
guys get tossed. And the average I was looking into, I didn't get the numbers, but the average for ejections per game are going like they're just
way
plummeting.
down. Yeah.
So
I know. I think we laugh about like Boone getting tossed 4 or 5 times in a year. And he's got to be like leading the charge.
Yeah, we're like heralding Boone as like the guy. Like this guy is
sad.
off the rails, man.
Sad, really. Yeah.
And then you look at first you look at what he gets ejected over, and I'm like, this guy, this is no Earl Weaver. But then you just look at the numbers at the end of the season, you're like, comparatively, this is nothing. This is a walk in the park for Bobby Cox. Unreal.
I miss it. It was awesome.
He's the only little nugget here. He's the only man, Bobby Cox, to be ejected from 2 World Series games. In 1992, was tossed for throwing a helmet onto the field at Sky Dome.
Sure.
At the Sky Dome during Game 3 against the Blue Jays.
Sure. I like that.
What a legend.
I miss the rocking. Remember the rocking in the dugout?
Yeah.
Good old days, man.
He did it in he reached that threshold in 4,508 games. Recorded 100-win season 6 times. Remember the Hall of Fame.
Freaking stud.
What a guy.
Yeah. Did he pass away?
Yeah.
A few years ago?
Yeah. What year was that?
It's got to be somewhat recent. 4 or 5 years.
Wait a minute. Is he still alive? No way. Is he still with us?
He's still rocking?
I could have sworn he passed away.
I thought he did too.
Wow, he's still with. Oh, that's what it was. He was. I remember hearing the reports about health complications. That's what it was, because he was in the hospital for a variety of things. But
sounds like he's good now.
He's still kicking, man. 82.
Let's honor my man before anything crazy happens. All right, Braves.
Let's do that, please.
Let's give him his day.
From Tulsa, Oklahoma. Of the two, let me ask you before we get out of here. Of the 2 unbreakable records that I think now that we know, now we've dove into this a little bit, between this and Cal Ripken's record, which of the 2 do we think is more unbreakable?
It's like a 1 uppercase A and 1 lowercase a. You know what I mean?
It's not even a 1A, 1B. It's an uppercase A and a lowercase a. Because you look at Cal Ripken's record and you're like, it's impossible. But then you look at this and you're like, I hate to say it, but is Bobby Cox's record more unbreakable simply because of the way that the game is changing? Like,
I'll probably say yes.
You just can't get ejected at that rate anymore. It's impossible.
Something tells me that like there are going to be guys that try and find some type of longevity as like a priority in their career. So I guess just like hypothetically, because I think it's never going to happen either way. But yeah, let's give Bobby Cox the 1A uppercase A.
Not just to reiterate, neither record is getting touched, but degree of impossible is what we're looking at here.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, I don't know when fines were being introduced, but if fines were so minuscule in like the first 50 to 80 of his ejections, and now fines are, tens of thousands of dollars sometimes, it's like that probably nips it in the bud a little bit quicker. On top of all the other stuff.
Well, it might be relative too, because Craig Counsell, a perfect example. Managers are making far more. So I don't know if the rate has increased or if it's just kind of
I'd like to know
on track.
If anyone's bored one day, look that up for us.
Yeah, dig that up for us. How are manager fines more than they were back in the Bobby Cox days.
Relative to salary.
Relative to salary.
That's
Little
good homework.
Assignment.
That's good homework.
We'll leave you guys with that. It's good to be back. Thank you all for bearing with us. Thank you all for checking out those few episodes to round out the year. Had a lot, like I said, had a lot going on. Shohei, Yamamoto. We even dropped a 3-0 changeup in there. We'll be getting back to those here in the very near future. But appreciate you listening, and welcome to year 7. Of the 3-0 take.
Let's go.
Glad to have you all along for the journey. So we will see you guys next week.
Love it. Let's get it this year. Let's get after it. Everybody. Don't go chasing curveballs.
Love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.